What's up, everyone? So let's have a conversation about this situation regarding PPP fraud. And one of the people who has been charged with PPP fraud, who just recently got sentenced to 17 years in prison. Now, first of all, what is the PPP? What does that even stand for, and what is the purpose of it? Well, PPP stands for Paycheck Protection Program. And what it was supposed to be is a loan designed to provide a direct incentive for small businesses to keep their workers on payroll. Those who were eligible for the funds, they were actual legitimate businesses, either sole proprietors, independent contractors. And this wasn't in the first round because they had a first round of PPP and a second round of PPP. In the first round, you had to have employees. In the second round, you could be an independent contractor or sole proprietor, but you were supposed to actually have a business first and foremost, okay? And there were a lot of people who did not have legitimate businesses, or let's say they had a federal employer identification number, which is basically a social security number for a business, but you weren't actually operating the business. For many people like this guy, I'll call him guy, I was about to say gentleman, but he didn't give honest information, okay? And unfortunately, with his situation, he may have possibly gotten by if he wasn't being so greedy about it. So based on the charges back in 2020, he was charged with bank fraud after obtaining $2 million in the PPP funding, which he said was going to be used for his business to help retain employees, maintain payroll, and make mortgage interest payments, lease payments, and utility payments for his business, which is what the PPP funding was allowed to be used for. So he applied for over $3 million, but he only received $2,045,800. Poor thing. He didn't get all of the money that he requested. But based on the charges, he used over $1.5 million of the loan to buy $85,000 worth of jewelry, including a Rolex presidential watch, a diamond bracelet, and a 5.73 carat diamond ring. And he also used about $40,000 to get caught up on that child support. You know, you got to get that child support paid up, or you can go to jail. Well, now, unfortunately, he will be spending time in jail, and he will get backed up on those child support payments once again, because he has been sentenced to 17 years in prison. The U.S. Department of Justice, the agents seized 3 of his bank accounts, and they said that he allegedly transferred $503,000 worth of the PPP funds back in 2020. So this is pretty serious. So he got sentenced recently to 17 years in prison for defrauding this program. And he was sentenced on Wednesday after pleading guilty to 6 counts of bank and wire fraud. And he cut a plea deal with the prosecutor so that they could drop 14 other charges. So he was looking at some real serious time. And although 17 years is also serious, it could have been a lot worse. But they're stating because this is federal time, he will have to serve all 17 years. And then when he is released, he will serve 5 years of supervised release. So he also has to pay back $4.4 million in restitution to the federal government. And he was just caught out there. He was a former star on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. He dated reality star Carly Red for a couple of seasons. She had alleged that he was being abusive. She wasn't really forthright with that when she was talking about it when he was on the show with her, but some of the women, they were really concerned, and then it came out that he was definitely being abusive. So he applied for the funds for a trucking company that never made any money. It was a company that never turned a profit. And he also said that he had 120 employees. So again, maybe if he wasn't trying to be greedy, because there's so many people out here like him who did defraud this PPP program where they flew under the radar. I'm not saying these people are getting away, they just may be getting by for the time being, but they didn't go for the jugular when it came to what they were trying to get from this program. There are some people who said they only had 1 or 2 employees. Some people may have only had 5 when they really didn't have any, and like him, they never even turned a profit. And not saying you have to turn a profit to have an actual business, because those of us who are in business, we know that there are lots of expenses, and sometimes it can take several years before you actually realize any profits, real profits in your business. So that's not to knock anyone's business, but there are people who just have like a hobby and they're calling it a business, and they never really had any intentions on working it like it was an actual legitimate business. So with all of that being said, maybe if he just got like $40,000-$50,000 and then he paid some of it towards his child support, and then maybe used some of that money to do some legitimate things in his business to make the business actually work, it's possible he may have gotten by. I'm not saying he would have gotten off 100% scot-free, and I'm not even condoning anyone lying about getting funds, because to be honest with you, that stuff it's just so deceitful. And I get it, the government isn't all that, but there are so many small businesses that had their doors closed for good because, one, they either didn't get the assistance that they were requesting that they really legitimately needed for their businesses, or they didn't get enough. Because to be honest with you, the Paycheck Protection Program was really put in place to help the unemployment numbers. It was really put in place because the larger percentage of that was supposed to be used for payroll. It was supposed to be used to keep people on the payroll, to keep people employed, because when the C virus hit last year, the administration that was in office at the time, they did not want there to be this huge influx of unemployed people. So it was supposed to really keep people on the payroll, to keep people employed, and to help businesses so that they can continue to operate. And a lot of businesses that have employees, if you don't have the staff, then you have to close your doors. And a lot of people are experiencing that still to this day because of the unemployment system that was put in place federally that had a lot of people getting money for not having to work and not even attempting or trying to work. So a lot of businesses weren't able to either continue to operate at all, or they had to downsize, or, not work as many hours as they were operating because they didn't have the staff that they needed to operate the business. So, there's blame on both sides. I'm not saying that the people who don't want to work are all at fault, and I'm not saying the government is all at fault. I believe that it was just a flawed thing, and because of how fast it happened, it wasn't perfect. But for people like this guy to have gotten this PPP money and use it in the way that he did, when there were a lot of businesses that could have used that money that he received, let's be honest, he'll never pay that money back, and they know it. He'll never pay that money back. 17 years in prison, and when he gets out, what is he supposed to do in order to earn that money to pay that back and be able to live? So it's just food for thought. When it comes to things like this, there are still a lot of businesses that are waiting to get funding, not the PPP because that ran out earlier this year, but other federal assistance to help their businesses, and a lot of businesses are still suffering. So just wanted to talk about this, and yeah, he got caught up. Got caught out there, and they caught up with him. So anyway, you all let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until the next time, I'm just being beautifully honest.